Hello, my name's Ned, and this is episode 8 of a series I call Put Me in Coaching. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about the power of practicing with an intention, the importance of friendly reminders to your players, and I'm going to make a part 2 about the power of affirmation. So, first, we're talking about practicing with intention. I'm sure this is not the first time you guys have heard about this. Plenty of other YouTubers have talked about this, and it's a pretty common practice among competitive people in general, where when you go and you're practicing something, you're not just practicing the overall craft. Like when you go into a rank game, you already, without even thinking about anything, you're practicing because you're doing repetition. But it's not an effective form of practice because you don't have something particularly in mind that you're going to work on. So, an example, because this works for everybody, works for bronze, platinum, silver, gold, diamond players, and professional players. So we'll use the example of a gold player. A gold player wants to get better at League, but then they need to pick a thing to focus on, like improving their CS. And then in that game, they say their goal is this much CS by this much time and to not miss this many minions, whatever it is. And then they work on that and they consciously try to improve their CSing. Or map awareness. You try to not get ganked by the jungler, so you're constantly reminding yourself to look down at the map. So for professional players, it could be improving team communication, calling out when your lane's missing, calling out when an objective is going to be coming up in the next couple of minions, and you want to be ready to get that. Or it could just be trivial things like other players do. Like I know Doublelift will go into custom games and just fucking last hit minions against bots and see if he can get 100 CS perfectly. Like that's absolutely a fine thing for professional players to do. If they need to work on their fundamentals or they need to maintain their fundamentals, then they should consciously try to do that. And I don't think it's a problem for a lot of people to practice with an intention, especially professional players. What I do think is oftentimes they have the intention of practicing with an intention, but then they forget about it because it's easy to forget about the most effective way to practice when you're in the game actually trying to win the scrim, trying to play your best. And maybe in a scrim you're not trying to play your best, but you're still focusing on other things. You're focusing on CSing, you're focusing on communication, you're focusing on your map awareness, you're focusing on making the plays, you're focusing on everything else, but maybe and you're trying to focus on the thing you want to work on. So whereas that's where the coaches come in. Because the coaches should always ask their players and have a clear idea of what the players themselves want to work on. And also, if they see something that the players need to work on, inform the players they need to work on that and be reminding them in the game. It's essentially nagging, but in a nicer way. So let's say, let's say Impact wants to impact the top laner for C9, get better at timing his top laner's teleport and saying to his team, I have teleport and he doesn't, or he has teleport and I don't, or his teleport's up in a minute, my teleport's up in 30 seconds, whatever it is. So Impact, he has trouble with this. His team never knows what teleport timers are. So he's already going to be thinking, hey, I need to tell my team this. And then as a coach, you could say, hey, Impact, what's the enemy's top teleport timer right now? And then you're keeping him on top of that and reminding him. Now, clearly, this is going to become frustrating to the players if you keep nagging them every 5 seconds. So you have to find a way to where you don't make it annoying, but you also but you make it just annoying enough to where they're going to have that voice in their head when they're come on stage or they're in the scrim and they no longer need you, to where they can do it by themselves. And that's going to happen with everything. Think about it. I'll give an example from myself. So when I was back in like season 3 or something, and I was like gold elo or something. I wasn't very good, but neither was anybody else. So I was in gold, and I didn't know how to use active items. I could play I knew all the champions in the game, all their abilities. I could CS decently well. I mean, for a gold player, I had gold level CS, gold level mechanics, and gold level map awareness and strategy, but I didn't know how to use active items. So I was like, you know what, this is pathetic. It's a key core part of the League of Legends. I need to be able to use active items. So what I did was Deathfire Grasp was still in the game, and clearly their Zonia's was in the game. So I played 10 games straight of mid Alistar, and I bought a Deathfire Grasp and a Zhonya's in every single one of those games, because I figured out that on Alistar, the DFG was a vital part of his combo, because you would DFG and then you would WQ, or you could W DFG in the middle of Wing and then hit your Q. But that was really hard, and I could only pull that off one every 10 times because I wasn't that good, and I didn't use smart casting. But whatever. After 10 games, I eventually learned how to use active items, and now it's second nature to me. I can press the Zhonyas as soon as I see myself getting bursted in a fight. I am good with the Ghosties when I'm playing support, sending them out when I'm chasing people. Good with the Talisman of Ascension, chasing people or running away. I know to press all the buttons whenever it happens because I practiced that one time. So it became sort of repetition. And of course, if I never used active items for 100 games in a row, they probably would fall out of favor. But because it's something I have to practice pretty much every game I play, because there's rarely a game where you don't buy an active item, whether it be Hydra or Yomu's Ghostblade or Bork or any of the support actives. All of them, like every lane is going to have an active probably. So it became something I was able to practice after I intentionally got the skill originally. Because before I would either avoid active items or just not use the active when I bought them. So that became something that I was able to consciously practice and then subconsciously practice afterwards, which is it's a key distinction that first you get the skill by consciously practicing it, and then you are able to practice it without thinking about it. And Weldon had a video, I can't remember what it was, but he did a great job about he talked about this, and he talked about sort of a different area, but it works the same way. He talked about it was skills that you first don't have, then skills that you have are working on consciously, skills that you can do consciously, and then skills that you can do unconsciously. And he says when you think of, so if you already are to the stage where he used like a thing like flashing a high damage ultimate, so we'll say flashing a Malphite ult. So if you can see the Malphite ulting and you're thinking, oh, I have to flash it, and you flash, that's good. But what's better is you see the Malphite ultimate and then your brain and muscles automatically react to flash it. And so by intentionally practicing it, you're at the first stage where you have to think about flashing the Malphite ult. And then after you can do that, it becomes muscle memory and you no longer have to think about it. So you want to get to that stage. But before you think about it, you're at the stage where you don't flash the Malphite ultimate at all because you're not even thinking it's going to come. You see the distinction there? So I think with that, I'm going to end the video, and next I'm going to talk about how you reinforce how the players are practicing, or correct things that they're doing wrong. All right. So thanks for watching. Next episode.